Whoa, Nelly. Blazers winning too many games. How worried are you now? How did that 4-game winning streak start to concern you? Because you said heading into the weekend, like, I'm not going to worry till they get to 22 wins. They're at 17 and 29. They're getting close.
Heads are falling off.
Still not worried about it, but definitely raising an eyebrow. They played awful in both those wins. It's just that the Magic played.
Beat Charlotte.
Brother, they beat Charlotte by 5.
I know.
With a team
I
sitting
know.
3 players.
Oh, I know.
Like, again.
I know.
They barely eked that thing out.
When you want to tank, though, you got to tank, my man.
Look, and Charlotte did. They leaned into it. The organization has basically said, like, hey, look, we want a winning culture. Like, if they win kind of situation.
The Blazers.
Yes.
That is.
I push back against that in general because I don't believe in winning or losing cultures when you're tanking because it doesn't matter until you get the star player.
Yeah, I will.
Now, if you go, you can go supremely toxic like the process Sixers. That's difficult to come out of.
Yes, I think that when you have as many young people that will be here moving forward.
That's the thing is I don't think that many guys are going to be there in the long run.
Does that include Scoot?
Yes and no. Like it could, but I don't think it has to.
I think if you're looking at, there's 3 guys
Denny and 2 to me are the only 2 where I'm like, yes, they fit every version of the team going forward.
In Klingon?
Yeah, I mean.
In Klingon, too?
Sure.
Okay, because I think that that's where I put.
Yeah.
There's 3 guys that I say you don't want to train those guys to lose and how to lose.
Denny came from the Wizards already.
Yeah, I know.
So if it was there, it'd be in him. But look how he plays.
Yeah.
Do you think he's a losing culture guy? Does 2 play like a losing culture guy? Does Donovan?
No, but I'm worried about it. You don't want that to creep in.
I don't think that's how they're wired, and I think it's more about how you're wired. Now, certain players I think are more susceptible to it than others, but also I think it needs like when you like the Spurs. The whole idea of like there's this great culture. Their culture wasn't so great that it didn't cause Kawhi Leonard to leave. Like that was a real thing that happened, and everybody kind of just.
Kawhi's a special bird, though.
But again, that's what I'm saying. Like it does. Things do change, but they were awful for 5 years. That doesn't mean like their culture is good or bad or otherwise. All of a sudden, it flipped on its head when they got Wemby.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens when you get a star that has the brain. I'm talking about players that are more susceptible. The flip side of that is Zion.
Yup.
Like the Memphis Grizzlies were awful. And then they got Ja. And even through his stupidity, they're still a great team, are they not?
They are.
And we have heard a million things behind the scenes of what the hell is going on there. Does it seem like a losing culture? No. Unstable.
It seems like one that will never get out of its way to win a championship, though.
Was Houston like 2 years ago, as bad as they were, and it was a complete disaster.
But do we think that Houston is championship caliber?
No, but do they feel like they have a losing culture?
Yeah.
They have the second best record in the West right
now. No. But we all, and there's also certain people that we attach to the Houston Rockets. And, remember Daryl Morey was like, I'm the smartest man in the room. I have figured this all out. I'm going to let you know how smart I am. And the hell with everybody else. And you're like, this ain't going to work. And I think that was like the kickback. Now, there has been a hard reset in Houston.
Yeah.
On almost every front, they have reset.
Yes.
And I think they have changed their culture in that regard, especially when you bring in a guy like Ime Udoka, who, look, that dude, all he's done is kind of win everywhere he's gone, right? And so, like, this stretch, though, when you said you got a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean.
Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, Orlando, Phoenix twice, Indiana, Sacramento, Minnesota, Denver twice, Lakers.
That's all before the break.
That is that's
tough.
Not all before the break. The 2 Denver ones are. You come back with the Lakers after.
Okay.
The Lakers are right after the break.
Post break, I'm not worried about this. It's like
all of those games though are losable for Portland.
100%. The one that I squint at is the back-to-back, or not the back-to-back, but the home baseball series with the Suns, because the Suns have just stepped in it.
And even Denver, because it's like those are just hard. Those are hard no matter what, but they're rolling right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And Russell Westbrook is going to want to prove a point.
Yeah. To me specifically. No, of course, I'm kidding. But Yeah, I think Orlando played maybe the worst.
This whole city.
Yeah. I mean, Orlando played maybe their worst game of the season. They scored 79 points. Yeah. Paolo Banchero, I was talking to folks after that game, and there was a consensus among evaluators in the NBA that it might have been Paolo Banchero's worst game of his career.
Dang.
I mean, he was airballing 4-footers. Jabari Walker is apparently Paolo Banchero kryptonite.
Well,
he had 6 steals, 5 of them coming on Banchero.
That's
like brutal. Again, I don't want to take away from the Blazers' defensive effort because it was their best defensive effort of the season. They had a ton of steals. They had a ton of blocks. They were incredibly active there. But it's like they shot the Magic shot under 35% from the field and under 25% from 3. Dusty, that has happened since the 3-point era 1,236 times.
Yeah, it's not good.
Since 1979, 1980. The team that has done that has won 26 times.
Yeah.
So less than 0.2% chance of winning the game.
Were they ever playing another team shooting that awful?
Not that I saw in there.
Okay. Also, Paolo Banchero alongside Franz Wagner continues to not be good because he was awful. Was it last night? They was in overtime. They blew a 9-point fourth quarter lead, which double-digit leads are a myth.
Yeah,
in the NBA.
unless it's 30 or more, it's anything is comebackable.
And if it was like a 9-point lead in the final 2 minutes, then it's notable. But they blew a lead, losing double overtime.
There's been a little bit of smoke. I was talking to somebody this morning, going into this offseason last year, there was some trepidation around a Paolo-Franz pairing going forward. And because they both need the ball to a certain extent because particularly Paolo can't shoot.
Yeah.
It's just not a viable thing. And it's the pieces are incongruent. And there was some feathers were ruffled, and the way they papered over it was, we're going to pay Franz too, so everybody's happy.
Oh.
And that ultimately always ends up working, right?
Sure.
Definitely,
every time.
Every single time. So, and I've heard that, again, this isn't like a toxic situation, but guys are unhappy because you have a bunch of like 24, 25-year-old guys with ego, and you kind of want that. You want that to it's kind of like a lion pride thing where like somebody has to be an alpha. Like it's, it has to, a pecking order has to establish itself. And I know that sounds so bro code or whatever the hell it is, but that's just the reality. Yep. There has to be a pecking order. Look at the Celtics. They sorted it out with the Jays. Like people are like, well, they're pitting them against each other. If you don't think that they both thought they were the dude 3-4 years ago, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
Well, and that's what happened in Oklahoma City when they said, why are we trading stars in their prime?
Yeah.
To figure that part of that out.
Well, because they knew there wasn't enough ball to go around between Russ, James, and KD. So they were like, screw it, we'll keep Serge. Now, did they trade too low on that? Yes, they did. But that's part of that whole deal.
Paolo Banchero, since the return of Franz Wagner, 19 of 57 from the field. That would be 33%.
Yeah, a big part of that is 1 of 14.
Yep.
Against the Blazers.
Last night, 7 of 21.
Yeah. And it was like, well, it's going to take a while for them to figure out how to play together. I'm like, what do you mean? They played together all last season.
Yeah, they know each other.
Yeah.
They know each other.
And the funny thing was, in Franz's first game back on a minutes restriction, he came in and balled out against the Blazers. Had anybody been remotely good?
What's the number that we start panicking at? Pre-All-Star break. What's the number? Because right now,
20.
17 and 29. Okay, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 games before the All-Star break. Okay, you're saying if they go 3 and 6 over that span, we're starting to worry?
Yeah.
All right. Milwaukee in town tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I think it will be.
It's not going to have the same pomp and circumstances as the first return for Dame, but it's going to be fun. It'll have the juice because the national team will be in the house.
And I think he's going to get a pop. He's going to get a big pop from the crowd.
Yeah, and look, the first time, he won't say it publicly, but it was a lot for him.
Mm-hmm.
It wore him down, and it does for everyone. And Dwayne Wade, when he was with the Bulls, went back to Miami and was god-awful.
Well, there would be no better way for Dame to lift up the city of Portland
than to punch them and beat them by 40.
And to drop a 50 spot. Yeah. And we can all be like, that was so good to see. Mm-hmm. I remember him. He was great.
It's fun to watch that kind of basketball again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the simple things in life.
I just wish Giannis would have gotten his way to Portland.
Yeah. And there's a chance he might not play tonight because they're on a back-to-back and he had a little bit of a ding. I don't think they'll do it, but I will be disappointed because I love watching Giannis play in person.
I like watching
one of my favorite. It might be my favorite player in the NBA to watch. Him, well, Wemby's probably surpassed him now because he just does stuff. You're like, what was that?
There's one person that you would want to have courtside seats to watch.
Wemby.
It's Wemby.
He does,
I would too because of
stuff.
how big he is, and just be like, whoa.
When he covers ground, like when he blocked Jeremy Grant's no dip 3, and you're close enough to see the look on Jeremy's face, like what the.
Well, that's the thing is hearing what other players say, because you'll hear some pretty comical stuff if you're down low. Like guys will be like, well, he's not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Like, no, come on, get out of here. The more colorful things that would get Jeff Russ fired if he did not catch them on the dump button.
Oh yeah,
those happen often.
Kevin Durant. Here's a fun one. I can't say all of it, but against the Wizards, Nick Richards was going to the free throw line at the end of the game, and somebody yelled from the Wizards bench, "These are clutch free throws. You got to make these clutch free throws. These are tough here. These are tough here." And Kevin Durant yells from the line, "Ain't nothing bleeping tough about y'all." And I was like, and he just kept saying it over and over again. It hit like Draymond Green hitting Paul Pierce with the "They don't love y'all. They don't love you like that."
I love that.
It was like, ooh, there's a lot of truth in that. That's physically painful to hear, but also, hang on. It was probably Jordan Poole yelling it too, which maybe don't.
Nothing at all. Is that All-Star Jordan Poole? You mean?
God, the fact that he got that many votes, China needs to be banned from voting.
Is he big over there?
Jordan Poole and LaMelo Ball.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The reason LaMelo was so close was because China was voting for him.
Really?
LaMelo Ball is a superstar in China.
Well, that makes sense. Jordan Poole makes significantly less sense.
Same style, though. Just reckless, careless.
But, LaMelo, at least, like, we know about LaMelo outside of, he hasn't been punched by a teammate.
Yeah. But it's that style. Like, the and one basketball really rings true in the Chinese market. It's really weird. Probably why the Chinese basketball leagues and player growth has not translated to the NBA.
Sure.
For a nation with that many people and a nation that they have more people who care about basketball and watch basketball than in the U.S.
Oh, no doubt.
Like by a lot.
Yeah.
And yet they cannot put a player in the NBA worth a damn.
Mm-hmm.
It's super weird.
Yikes.
Like, yow. That's it.
Well, no. Wasn't there a guy in the draft this past year? What's that guy's name? No?
No.
Wasn't there a guy at the Nike Hoop Summit?
Yeah, they have those every couple of years, and this is going to sound...
Who's that guy?
Wait,
who'd the Blazers have on the G League or the Summer League
Jackie
team?
Hui.
Yeah, Jackie Hui from the Summer League team.
He got hurt. He went to the Nets, and then he got hurt. Unfortunately, great dude, and the Chinese media that was following him at Summer League was crazy.
Yeah, he was like great, and he hammed it up for him too.
Oh yeah, and there was a contingent that was Wemby-esque.
Yeah,
because they have so few guys in the league. But yeah, no. If you talk about the Hoop Summit guys, they send one or two over pretty regularly, and they are 2 or 3 years older than they say they are. It's
baseball's
for everybody's
that for years.
Yeah, for everybody's like, oh, it's racist. It's like, no, it's not racist. It's a thing that's actually been uncovered multiple times.
Yeah,
they said a guy was 18, he was 23.
That's a big difference,
brother.
That's 5 years.
When you looked at him, you're like, that's an IS 12 if I've ever seen one.
Some grown man strength.
Dude was just jacked, and you're like, nah, dog, you don't get like that at 18.
He showed up at the arena with the minivan.
Yeah.
Why you got 5 car seats in the back?
It's like, no, you got to go.